Hi guys, and welcome to my video. It's called How to Stock Your Camera Bag Like a Professional Photographer. That's right, I've been a professional photographer for almost 10 years, and this right here is the actual bag that makes it all happen, y'all. I didn't always have it. It took me a lot of hard work to have it. I started out very humble with humble gear, but I'm here to tell you what you need to buy, what you need to focus on, and what you need to invest in, and most importantly, what must be in this bag at all times to make sure that you can go ahead and be able to handle any type of event. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the bag. So first off, we have here my trusty workhorse. That's right, this is my trusty workhorse. This is my Canon 5D Mark III. That's right. This camera right here is a super workhorse. Canon 5D Mark III. I've almost had this camera for, I've had it for, quite a number of years when it first came out. I don't know, maybe, 4 or 5 years ago, or even longer than that. Whenever it came out around that time, I ended up getting this camera here. This is my workhorse camera. This is a full frame camera, and this camera here allows me to do my job very confident. It's very good in low lighting situations. It's a workhorse. It's weatherproof. You can take it out there, and it can take a little bit of the drizzle, a little bit of the snow and the elements. I do live in the New England area, and that is very important to have a weatherproof camera. It's got the nice rubber around the camera. The nice, it's for better grip and also to make it weatherproof to the elements. As you see here, you have all your USB and HDMI connections have all been blocked or covered with some rubber materials to keep it nice and dry with the stuff that's inside. And believe me, y'all, this camera has been through everything. I mean, I've had it, like I said, maybe 5, maybe even 6 years. I don't even know. I've had it a long time, and this camera goes to war with me all the time. It's just a great camera that I can use again for just about anything. I love the fact that I can have my LCD display in the back. Let's see if it's actually on so I can turn it on. Yeah, there's actually no memory card in there, but we can still should be able to access, the back and see what we're working with there. Here you see the last settings on my last photo session that I was doing. But again, a very, very, very awesome camera. I just love this camera. I love the battery. The battery lasts a very long time. Usually at an event, 8 to 10 hour event, I might only use 2 batteries maybe the whole day. And you're talking about, maybe, I would say, 1,000 or 2,000 photos from an event. You could easily do it on a couple of memory cards and on a couple of batteries. So it's a fantastic camera, and one day I'll do a review about this camera. So let's put this back. Oh, there you see this camera. I have it mounted on the 24 to 105. That's the focal length of the lens. So at 24, that's how wide it goes, and at 105, that would be zoomed in. So I love this lens. This is it's an f4 lens. It is an L series lens. You can tell by the red stripe right there. It's got also an L there. This is the only knock to this lens is that it's only f4, which is for the aperture. It's only at a 4. It doesn't go lower to allow you to blur more backdrops or let more light in. But at f4, f4, but a lens that's 24 to 105 on the focal range. I mean, this lens is just a workhorse, because when you're at an event, you're gonna need all those different focal lengths on it, and this lens definitely allows me to do that. For it not being a prime lens either, I'm pretty happy with the sharpness and everything that the lens does give, even though it's not a prime lens. So that is that, y'all. That is my work gear right there. When I get to an event, that's what I'm working with right here. This is the first camera I pull out. This is what I have for a lens on it if I'm doing a wedding. If I'm doing a photo session, I'll show you what I use if I'm doing something outdoors. But if I'm doing an event or anything else, this lens right here is the one that comes out. 24 by 105 gives me a lot of options with that lens right there. I also have a backup camera that's here. Now this backup camera, this is one of my first cameras, y'all. This is a T3i. Wow, this camera brings back so many memories, y'all. I've had this camera for almost 10 years. I actually have 3 of them someplace there because I also do video. And at one point, I was actually using them for photography and video, which again, it gives you great 1080p video, which was great until it started getting into 4K and stuff like that. But the camera is great, y'all. It's a great backup camera. And again, this Canon T3i. One of the things that I loved about this camera is the fact that it has a swivel, a pull-out screen in the back. And when you're doing video, this is fantastic because if you are doing video from a low position, you can't really see the settings. So you could easily, flip the screen to be able to go ahead and see what's going on. It's with my backup lens. This is another L series lens. This one is 24 by 70. This lens right here is another workhorse. Very, very, very common lens. Probably one of the first lenses somebody will buy because again, at 24 to 70 focal range, it's going to give you pretty much everything you need when you go do events, whether you're in a room, to being out on a dance floor. Yes, you might not be as close, but again, 24 to 70 is definitely the range you want to be in. I enjoy the other lens a little better because you can zoom a little bit better, but at 24 to 70, this lens right here is definitely a workhorse and a must-have on your bag. So I keep my backup T3i there. Then we're moving on to here. This is one of my prized possessions, y'all. This is a must also in every photographer's bag. Now, this lens right here, you won't be able to use it all the time because of the focal point, the focal length on this lens. This is a 70 to 200 L series 2.8 aperture lens. This lens right here is fantastic. Weighs a ton. This is definitely made out of some metal or aluminum or something like that. Metal, aluminum mixed with some hard plastics and stuff. But this lens is super heavy. It's super sturdy, and I just love the way that I can blur out the backgrounds with it. And I like lenses that I can use outdoors without light. And this is definitely a lens that I would recommend to be able to use outdoors without a light. So this lens right here is just at 2.8 aperture. This lens is just great. So I would definitely recommend this lens. The only downfall to this lens is that 1, it is heavy, but 2, also it's expensive, but 3, at 70 to 200, you're not going to be using this all the time. You can use it on photo sessions when you're in the park, when you're at the beach, and when you do events and you do weddings like me and quinceañeros like me. I do use this, sometimes, again, when we're out at the parks or at the beach to get a shot and get a little closer, and from further out. Also, I can use this at the receptions, at the hall. This is my prized possession, y'all. This is my favorite lens right here. This is also known as the portrait lens, the Canon portrait lens. This guy is the Canon 85 millimeter prime lens, y'all. 1.2 aperture. This lens is a monster. This lens should be on a leash This lens is just fantastic. You can use it on your camera without any lighting, and you're still just getting stunning photos, y'all. It's just a great, great lens. I love it. Again, it's a very heavy, very well made lens. It's actually the second one that I've owned. The first one, I dropped it at an event, and I definitely shed a tear, y'all, because that was about the price of a used car that went down the drain. So I lost my first one. It got damaged, but then I went and go ahead and I was able to replace it and get another one. I just love, again, this Canon Portrait L series lens. I actually did a review on this lens on my YouTube page, so go ahead and check that out. These guys right here. This is the Gary Fong diffuser. This is the dome that you can put on this. I got this right when I started getting into photography. I like the fact that this is collapsible, as you'll see here. I am, it's collapsible, which, when you're carrying gear all day long, everything has to be able to fold or collapse. This goes on top of your camera, and the light comes nice and wider up through here. Maybe I'll do a tutorial about this as well. There's light that also comes from the side on this. This is a must, y'all, when you do events. I have here 1, 2, 3 Canon. These guys were fantastic right here. These are Canon 600 flashes. So 600 EXRT super lights. You have here super speed lights. These lights, when they first came out a few years back, were just phenomenal. I mean, and the main reason why these lights were so fantastic and so sought after was a bunch of different reasons. These lights could work through radio frequency, which means they didn't have to see each other for you to be able to fire your flash with a trigger. So again, these worked with radio frequency. These things are you can dim them. These things, you can pair them up with multiple more flashes. And again, there's just a ton of things that these flashes will do. And they have the different modes on them. Again, when you're out there doing events, this is a great way, if you know about lighting, and we'll do some tutorials about lighting. I have a way that I can do my 3, point lighting if I'm doing an event. So I can use a key light, a fill light, and a backlight or a rim light with these 3 lights. So that's why I have these 3 lights, y'all. Very rarely in events did I actually use all 3 of them for actual portraits. At the receptions, I actually used them. But for portraits, maybe 1, maybe 2, depending on the lighting situation. It's all different, but it's there if you need it. And I'm definitely going to do a tutorial about that. Here in this guy is the Mark III charger right there. This is my actual bag, y'all, how it's normally stacked. Here, I love this. This is the trigger for the speed lights right here. So this is the Canon. This is the Canon RT transmitter, speed light transmitter. As you see, I have my name on it to make sure that this is returned to me at the end of the night. But again, super cool. This has a mount. It has a shoe mount there, and it mounts right on top of your camera in place of a flash, so that you can go ahead and now trigger your flashes from here, and you don't have to have your flash necessarily on the camera. You can now use the flash off camera, which is way better. Some backup batteries for my backup camera, and also some backup batteries for my Mark III camera, a charger for my backup camera, and the charger for the Mark III is there. And I also have some miscellaneous stuff here, like a UV filter to go ahead and get down the intensity of the sun if you're going out there midday and it's really bright. And then I also have a remote control that you can put on your camera, so when you're doing photos of long exposure and you're working with a tripod, you'll be able to remotely trigger your shot from there. So that is that bag, y'all. The brand of this bag This is called a Temba bag. And again, I've had this bag, y'all, for maybe, I want to say maybe 6, 7 years. I mean, and I can't tell you how many events this thing has been through, and it's still pretty intact. Here's the wheels. The wheels don't lie. You can see how dirty the wheels are, and it's got a nice kick plate here that's gone through a lot. There you see how worn the corners are. But again, it's just been a great camera. On this, I don't have anything here. There is another pouch here. I don't have anything there. And this right here, pow! I actually have here all my memory cards to do events. So we got plenty of memory cards. We got them all doubled up there. So in this little thing alone, I must have 8 or 9 memory cards all in here. If you guys enjoyed that video, please make sure that you give it a big thumbs up, turn on your notifications, and please consider subscribing. Yes, y'all. I like to bring you guys more and more content, and that's going to help support our cause. So please, if you enjoyed this video, we are going to be turning the photography space upside down. That's right. We're going to turn it upside down like this, or inside out. Whatever it is, we're going to make fun tutorials, and more importantly, we're going to set you up to get out there and succeed.